There is no point in fighting with anyone, where all kinds of excuses why it's the right thing to do exactly that now. Just you cannot do anything wrong when you approach life as who you truly are. Vibrating. I feel myself changing. And this goes for everything. For every system on the planet there is. Having this point of attraction of what you're not and start being your true self. Welcome to a new video. Maybe you don't know it if you haven't watched my other YouTube videos. So, you should know I committed myself to a 30-day challenge, which means every day I create and upload one video. And I see where it leads me and what grows out of it. And today is day 17. Day 17. So many more days to come. And already day 17. I'm kind of in awe about this whole experience because a lot of stuff is growing out of me only from doing that. And what I love the most about it, I give myself actually the space to talk about things that I truly love, talking about things that truly inspire me and things that are important to me. And that's actually an absolutely beautiful thing. So it's not that I never talked about it before, I have, but this is a whole new level, I have to say, because it's different, right? Because I'm putting it on YouTube, right? Because I'm allowing myself to potentially be seen by many more people than when I talk to one person or to or maybe a few persons, right? So I think this is such an amazing journey, and so many things become clear for me because of that. And it's fun. It's actually fun. I really enjoy doing this. And I mean, I can only recommend that actually. If you ever thought about doing that, I would say just do it. Maybe you want to do it in a form like that as well. Just say I'm going to do a 30-day challenge, and every day I'm just going to upload one video. I keep it simple, and I just see where it goes. No pressure, no insistence of any outcome. Nothing about that, but just enjoying the ride, having fun doing it, and getting yourself to know on different levels and discovering yourself in a whole new way. So if you ever think of doing that, do it. I can only recommend that. So with that, let's dive right into the next topic for today, because I am really inspired today to talk about who we truly are and what that means in, let's say, physical expression. I mean, you already heard the term, I bet you already heard it, that you are not your body, you are not your emotions, and you are not your thought, right? You're not your thoughts. So this is a mask we're wearing, and we've been trained to think that we are that mask. That's why life has been the way it is for us. Mostly hardship, mostly kind of intense, maybe even complicated. Things are the way they are, and I'm just a little human, and so on. You know the stories, right? And now we're awakening to that is definitely not true. We are not linear beings living just a linear life. We are actually dimensional, living a dimensional life, and waking up to who we truly are, waking up to the mask is just the mask, and I can form the mask however I want it to be, right? And I can create my life the way I want to create it. So with this awakening, I mean, comes a whole new way of being, right? And today I want to touch on briefly, so to say, on what that actually means, a whole new way of being, and what that looks like. So the first thing that comes to mind, the first thing I receive is when you live as who you truly are, you stop pointing fingers. Because you have understood how the mechanics of this reality works. You have understood that you attract things into your life by kind of emitting a certain point of attraction. So when we understand that, what does that mean? Well, that means we actually cannot ever point fingers anymore to anyone, anything. Because think about it. when you know that you hold the power to change everything in your life, and something comes your way and it triggers something within you, it should only be the greatest opportunity for you to make a change within yourself, right? Because obviously you have something in your energy field that causes that to happen, my nose, to happen in your life, right? And that is where most of the people, even the ones that say they are awakened and walking the path of conscious awakening, that is where we kind of, how do you say it in English? I mean, where you kind of not get stuck, that's not what I mean, but where you are challenged a lot, because we are so used to pointing fingers. We are so used to experiencing an emotion because of an outside, so to say, circumstance, and we're kind of dwelling in that person made me feel that way. And so we take this standpoint of, I have this opportunity and I feel I don't like people when they are like that because I'm a person that is like that, and that is why I feel that way. But when the truth is, this person was only one happening, so to say, that has triggered something within you that has been there before that person even did the thing, and that is why that thing actually could happen in the first place. Did you get that? Did you get that? Let me repeat it. So when something happens in your reality that triggers heavily something within you and causes your whole system to go in a certain state of being, so to say, having particular emotions, particular thoughts that are coming along with it, particular behaviors, opinions, talking to people maybe about it in a certain way, that is not because of that person. The person was only kind of the thing that caused the trigger to show it to yourself, because that person could have not done the thing. If you haven't had that energy in your frequency before, and that is why you attracted a situation like that, which has only one purpose, actually, to show you that you have something like that in your energy field. So it did not happen because of that person. It was there before, and that is why you experience a situation like that with that person. So the thing that you have in your energy field because of that opportunity of that person doing that thing to you is exactly the reflection of that very energy you're holding yourself active in, that you're not aware of, and it becomes visible in 3D reality for you to see, right? I mean, that is how we create, right? We place our attention on something, and it takes momentum. It takes on momentum, until it starts to kind of reflect itself back to you in many different shapes and forms, starting with maybe emotions, thoughts within yourself, certain synchronicities around you. And the more you focus your attention on that, deliberately or not, doesn't really matter, the more momentum it takes on. And when something happens in your physical reality that you can see with your eyes, that is visible, and for your physical senses to experience, that only means it has a whole lot of momentum behind it. So everything that is triggering you, especially the things that are very, very, very much triggering you, that really kind of throw you off, it's not a thing, it's not a person, it's not a circumstance. That was only the cause that triggered it, that triggered something within you that was there all along. And for that, actually, when you take a close look, you could even say, I could be grateful for that. Because how are you supposed to know what you're doing with your energy field when you're not trained to tune into your own energy? And by that, I mean becoming aware of your own energy and really realizing what you're actually doing with your energy. So if you can do that, well, you're not lost, right? Because physical reality has always the opportunity to show you with your right in front of you at some point, that you can see it with your eyes, that you can smell it, taste it, touch it, feel it, right? So that's the kind of last expression that can then show you, because then you cannot not see it, right? Because you see with your eyes, you're clear about seeing with your eyes, hearing with your ears. That is something we've been trained in. So even if we're not trained to, before all that happens, are able to really see what are we doing with our energy, well, that is the last opportunity, not last opportunity, but the latest thing happening that then will even show you what you're actually doing with your energy. And for that, we can actually be grateful. And this, let me say this very clear, this has nothing to do with the other person. I'm not saying that this kind of makes them right. It's not about right or wrong. It's not about right or wrong. It's understanding how the mechanics of this reality works. It's understanding that we are the creator of our own reality. It's understanding what true responsibility is. I mean, people often think that responsibility is something like taking care of someone, or feeling guilt when we're not, right? Or pushing ourselves through something because that is what you do, or I don't know, all those kinds of things. And I'm not saying that not taking care of someone is not the type of responsibility, but I'm talking about kind of a different kind of responsibility. The responsibility of knowing how the mechanics of reality truly works, and how it is that you actually create experience in life for yourself. And I mean, when you think about it, you leave footprints for others to step into, right? And what are those footprints? Are those footprints of love? Or are you opening doors to fear and showing how that is working? Like everything you do is always directly an opportunity for others to follow you. So we want to make sure we act out of love, right? So best case. And what I mean is that true responsibility is understanding who we truly are and taking responsibility for our own state of being, for our own emotions. I mean, let's say you're in a relationship and you're in a fight because you believe something, they believe something, things get triggered, and you know what you want, and you all, it triggers things in you, whatever, and you experience that you do not prefer. Well, the old model of reality would say, I hate you, you're doing this to me, and I can live with you, or whatever. And we point fingers onto them. And kind of the new way of being is realizing I have to look at myself first, because they are a reflection of what is within me. And when it triggers me, then this must mean I am in a point of attraction. I have something in my energy that I'm not aware of, that they reflect back to me. So you get triggered, and before you act out like in the old model of reality, you know who you are, right? You know you're the creator. You know you are creating your experience. It does not have anything to do with whether they're right or wrong. Not at all, but you just know how it works. So First of all, you just realize you got triggered. And whenever you get triggered, it means you have some work to do. It means you have to take responsibility for your own emotions before you even can go out and kind of play with other creators, right? Because when you not do that, and when you play with other creators on that level that you're pointing fingers and you're kind of pushing what you're feeling down and trying to throw it into them, or however you go about that, reacting, I kind of lost that sentence. It just happened so quickly. What did I say? Let me tune in for a moment. Well, then you will, there it is again. If you go about it the old model of reality, then you will only create more of that which in that state you are in. Right? So actually there is no point in fighting with anyone. Because what's happening when you're fighting, or when you're kind of having a heated discussion or whatever, what's actually happening is that programs are against programs. So no one is really awakened right now. No one is truly who they are. And there is nothing that comes out of that. Never. Never. So the new way of being is going a whole different way about it. Realizing when things get triggered, especially when it's an intense trigger, when it's like an old wound, a deep wound, so to say. I mean, that's a whole nother topic. It's not like the wounds are really deep, but it feels intense because it drives very quickly a certain state of being. Like you cannot control yourself. Like you have this tunnel vision and things are just happening. And you only realize when that, like Eckhart Tolle puts it, when that pain body just slows down again because it had enough of the acting out, then you can clearly see, and then you wonder, what did just happen? What did I say? How could I do this? And you feel like you haven't been yourself. And the thing is, you haven't been yourself. You have been convinced that the program is yourself. You were identified with an emotion and with thoughts, and there were all kinds of excuses why it's the right thing to do exactly that now, to say those things, to act like that, to put up walls like that. And the new way of being is being so aware of that this is so. Because when something gets triggered, the lies come up. The voice in your head the body is so on alert mode that the voices in your head, they will tell you all kinds of things. The other person is the greatest threat. And no matter what they say, even if they bring the greatest apology, no matter what they say, they cannot soothe that, because only you can. Okay, yes, sometimes when people apologize, we're like, oh, okay, then if it's that, then okay. But that's really a condition that hasn't solved the trigger. And it's only a matter of time when it gets triggered by someone or something again. There has to come a point in your experience where you have to face yourself. And that's the truth. So the new way to go about it is to know that every voice in your head is a lie. Someone triggers you, let's say in your relationship, and the voices come up. He never respects me. He's treating me unworthy. He doesn't love me. All the beautiful shapes and sizes and colors come up now. The voice is really telling you, fight back, kick him out, kick her out, don't do this. It's because you're in a certain type of frequency, because that trigger is now active on a high level, so to say, and the thoughts are kind of in alignment with that. So this becomes this emotional thinking loop, like this loop of emotion and thought, it's driving itself further and further and further until you finally stop and say no more, or until the body is so tired that you stop all by yourself. Because the body can't take it anymore, right? Can't fight for forever. And when you know that, you sense the trigger and you start to hear those voices, but you stay detached in such a way. And the best case is that you know that you need now time to dissolve that emotion first, because the lies that are coming up now, that's the fog. It's not the truth. And that takes so much courage to be that way, because sometimes people hurt us very deeply. Sometimes people do things that are really not nice, and it takes so much courage to just be bold enough and to say, okay, wait a minute, it might not be nice what you've done, but when it triggers something within me, I have to dissolve that first. And that's the only way that I can change it anyways. And that's the only way that I maybe not even experience it in the future again, because I have to release that emotion. And then we can even go a step further and be grateful for that person. Because, on so many levels, we agree on situations with which each other like that, so we can see the triggers. So on some level, your partner in your relationship is actually doing you great service because you agreed on soul level to trigger the shit out of you. So you can stop being what you're not and stop having this point of attraction of what you're not and start being your true self. And this goes for everything, for every system on the planet there is. You know, yes, there are many things that are not going the way we prefer them to be. Society, the government, the health system. But you know, the thing is, we have to come to a point where we realize it sucks what they do. But then we have to go beyond that and understand this is not about pointing fingers, but about waking up. And then create from that awakened state what it is that we prefer. And we can only do that when we stop pointing fingers. So when someone does something to you that triggers something in you, the best thing you can do to raise your frequency and expand your awareness is to see it as a creator. It is just an opportunity to see more of what you're not within yourself, dissolving it. And trust me, especially in relationship with people, love relationships, friendships, family, doesn't really matter. It's kind of all the same in that sense, because when you release that emotion, trust me, you will think very differently. And then often what happens is, if it's, let's say, a romantic relationship, we have those opinions, you know, we have those thoughts and opinions about certain things. But when we release that emotion for real, and it's not in our body any longer, then we think differently, and those other old thoughts dissolve, and we actually love them even more. And we think, wow, I was really just blinded. And all those things that I thought I care so much about that you do, I actually don't when I am in alignment. I don't. Okay, you're doing those things. I was so annoyed by that, and now it's like, oh, okay. It doesn't trigger me anymore. So the thing is, what I want to say with that is, those opinions we have, they dissolve, because when we're in a different point of attraction, we see the whole world through a whole different lens, then more as who we truly are. And that is what most people cannot do. That is what even people that are on a spiritual path, that say that are on a path of conscious awakening, that is where they get challenged a lot, because it takes a whole lot of boldness and a whole lot of courage to approach life like that, because sometimes things happen and it costs you everything to see it in that way. But not pretending to be joyful, pretending to release, but really facing the emotions within yourself, because that is what we have to do. Everybody needs to dissolve the frustration, the anger, the hatred, the war within themselves in order for it to reflect outside of us, and for all those things to end outside of us. Because everything that happens outside of us is a reflection of what we're doing within ourselves. So when you get heavily triggered by war, so to say, I mean, war is not nice. We don't need to argue about that. But the things that come up within yourself, seeing things like that is what you need to release in order for you to even be in a reality where there is no war and peace instead. When it drives hatred in you that you see war, then that hatred is part of why the war exists in the first place. And I don't mean that you are causing the war, but on an energetic level, that hatred, it is showing you what is in you that is contributing to that conflict energy. And this is what we need to understand when we want to live in a world of peace and love and joy and passion and magic and wonder. This is really what we need to understand. And it doesn't mean that you will come to a point where you will say, oh, I love war. Look at all those pictures and images. I love that. That does not mean that at all. But when you release the hate, because you know how it works, and you know also, by the way, that every soul chooses their path, but that's a different topic, maybe for another video. If you know how it works and you release that and you look at the same thing, you have a different perspective. You don't prefer it then, maybe. You don't, probably not, but you will have a different point of view. You will think differently. You will be a different person. You will see things wiser. You cannot end war with war. That's probably the greatest illusion we keep ourselves in, and I mean, that's part of the energy, that reinforcing cycle of the war itself that is trying to reinforce itself, right? Make us believe that we can fight war with war, that we can dissolve conflict with conflict. It's not the way it works. It's just not. And this goes for any conflict. So I think maybe at this point right now, I really believe that the most important thing, or the most very important expression at this point, at least in our time of awakening, living this new way of being means stop pointing fingers and do the work within yourself. Because that's how you're contributing. Because what we hold ourselves in is what we emit into the field, and that is what we experience on a collective. All the beings put together what they are doing, and that is what we're experiencing. So if you want peace, you gotta live peace. No matter, you cannot wait for war to end, for your partner to change, for that circumstance to be different, for the government to finally see and understand, or whatever. You cannot wait for that thing to happen to say then, oh, yo, now I feel it. Now I feel safe. Now that's okay. It's not working that way, right? And now, since we're in a reality where we already have been creating so much of that distortion, it takes a whole lot of courage and boldness for us to stay in that center, because we know, not because we're delusional, as many people think, not because we look away, but we know how it works. We know how it works. We need to be the ones that stop with such persistence until everything around us reflects that back. And when we do it and things not first-handed, or in the first, first reflection reflected actually back, we can't allow that those thoughts to talk us out of possibilities. See, it's not working. I'm radiating joy, but look at wow. We cannot do that. We need to be the ones that stay persistent in what they know and release ourselves of emotion, and really doing everything in our power to cultivate those emotions within ourselves, to allow them to radiate through us, out of us, into the whole wide world and into the universe and far beyond. It doesn't stop here on earth and in the universe. Trust me, it is involving, it is kind of illuminating all of creation. Everything you do, good or bad, so to say, dark or light. What you choose to be affects each and everybody and everything. Affects all of creation. So we really need to stop pointing fingers. We really need to find a new way to approach conflict and relationships, to see it from a different point of view, to have new approaches, new, not even techniques, but new ways of handling that. And it first of all starts with us. And imagine a world where everybody knows that. Imagine a world where everybody is like that. Okay, you triggered me. I don't like what you're doing, but first I'm going to take care of this alignment. Instead of running around being all misaligned and having all kinds of excuses why we're now spreading that energy. And this is how we really change even faster. It's not about changing fast, but this is, if we wanted to change faster, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. We really need to stop pointing fingers. And I just had an experience with a woman that I actually wanted to have a collaboration with. And And we wanted to start this whole collaboration, and she kind of invited me to an event, and I really thought that I wanted to go, and I wanted to go. I was really excited, and something came up in my reality that really needed my attention, that really needed my awareness. And I realized, as much as my being, my ego structure, right, what I thought that I need wants to go, it's not the right thing for me right now. I have to take care of some business first. And that's what I told her. And the collaboration actually should have started in October. And I told her I can't come to that event. And I didn't think it's a big deal because it was an invitation, right? So, but it triggered something so heavily, obviously, within her. Within not even, minutes, she texted me back, canceled everything, the money that I already paid, that we kind of agreed to, that I'm paying for that exchange, for that collaboration. She's going to keep that, all kinds of stuff came with it, but it's a woman that is saying she's on a spiritual path. So it was all kind of packed in this, I don't know how to say it, in this illusion of I'm doing this because I'm awakened. But actually I could hear and I could feel it. I triggered heavily with that message. And I realized that, and I was shocked. I was like, I know this is happening for me, right? And that's how I approach it. I know if this is happening, I couldn't be mad at her right now. That would be the old way of reality, right? I would be mad. How could she do this to me? And this is something that I don't prefer. I could actually act the way she acted actually to me. But I realized it doesn't make any sense. I just felt that she is in pain, that she got triggered, that old wounds were activated through that. And that's why she started kind of shooting. She immediately canceled everything, even though nothing happened. She immediately canceled everything. And she put up walls because she thinks she needs to protect herself. So what does that mean? She was acting out of fear. And if you take a close look, that's exactly the reason why we have war on the planet. People think they need to protect themselves because they don't want things that happened to them in the past to happen again in the future. They think they need to protect their light. But the thing about light is, when you're truly in your light, nothing can fight that light. Nothing can truly hurt that light because you are the light, right? The light is illuminating the dark. It can't be otherwise. So that's the paradox. That doesn't make sense, but that is actually what we believe because we've been trained to believe that. And this experience with her, well, I actually replied. I kind of replied the way I thought it is right to reply. I told her that I think that it's very dramatically a drastic decision, and those two things weren't even connected, and I don't really understand it. So I got another message back today, and she kind of stood in that opinion, so to say. And I realized, if it's not supposed to be, it's not supposed to be, right? It's a gift for me because I only attract what I'm in alignment with. And even if I try to make something happen in my life that I'm not in alignment with, life will show me. Even if I make the wrong decisions, even if I never should have said yes in the first place to that collaboration or whatever, you know what I mean. But you cannot do anything wrong when you approach life as who you truly are, because even if you make a move that is not supposed to come to fruition, life will just show you by synchronicity, by things that are happening then. So you cannot make the wrong decision, truly not. And that's how I go about it. So I know it's just something that happens in my life to teach me something about myself, right? And to point me into a different direction, and it gives her the opportunity to see herself in a different way. So it's a win-win situation. I know that. But why I want to bring this up is because I really realized that is what we need to change, guys. That is what we need to change. We need to stop pointing fingers. We cannot run around, pull up walls like that just because something gets triggered. We need to become aware. That is what war is on a smaller scale. Shooting against others, protecting myself, shielding myself, and seeing if this happened again, and I have to protect my light. And this is exactly what war is. But war is on a larger scale. It has a whole lot of momentum. But it starts with each and every one of us, what we're doing in our tiny world, so to say, which is not tiny at all. Everybody holds his own universe, literally. And it made me kind of sad. I really had to release some grief, I would call it, because I don't know, because I just can feel that that's the reason why we experience things the way we experience on earth. We need to stop pointing fingers, and we need to stop reacting, and we need to become aware of who we truly are and how emotions occur, how thoughts, where they come from, how we choose them, how we change our state of being, how we kind of shift from survival mode back into creation mode, right? That's the only way we can ever create peace on earth. We have to create it from within. And that's why I am so encouraged I don't want to change the world, I have to say, and I don't have to, I know that. I want to create a whole new world around me, through me. And if enough people do that, that's how the world changes. We're not really changing the world we're on, guys. We're shifting and shifting and shifting to a more preferable world that we create from within, just like we created this one from within, but we weren't really aware of that. This is such an important theme, because we can do all the spiritual things and all the stuff in the world, those million trillion opportunities we have to have, I don't know, spiritual practices and but when we not stop pointing fingers and actually embody that in our lives, then we will never experience that. We have to be the first to do that. We cannot wait for anybody else to do it out of fear that we might fail. If we have those fears, then that is only one more voice that we need to release, right? And when we release, we will see the world differently, more as who we truly are. And that is just the truth. Everything is just a fog. Everything is just, our brain is clouded, and we only believe we're looking as who we truly are, but we're not. Especially when we're holding a lot of opinions about a lot of things. I see it. I'm a human that sees this way. I'm a person that sees it this way. I'm a this person. Listen closely. Those are a lot of opinions. And every opinion kind of closes, in a sense, you off from any other possibility. We need to stay open. Thoughts are just something that occur in our awareness, and then it leaves again, if we not cling to it as this is our identity now. Because the truth is, what wants to come through us now is who we truly are. And the soul that you are doesn't hold opinions like that. It only ever goes into the direction what it feels right, what it feels is right. And that is, by the way, just briefly, because that is probably even also a theme for another video, but that is, by the way, why we feel distortion and why it hurts. When we look at something and we hold opinions, and those opinions don't feel good, they trigger something or whatever, we only feel that pain in any shape or form because the truth of what we are sees it differently. So when you hate your partner for doing something, it doesn't feel good because the truth of what you really are loves them no matter what. And this gap is what you're feeling as an emotion that doesn't feel good. Did you get that? When I heard that first and started to realize it and experienced it in my life, heard it first, and then observed it in my life and found out it's true for myself by experiencing it, that's when I understood why emotions are there. They are your guidance. They teach you whether you are in alignment with who you truly are or not. Your soul, the soul that you are, is not hating anybody, no matter what they're doing. Even if the soul knows it's not for them, it's not for you. Even if the soul that you are knows it's not what I prefer, it never hates. It just moves into the direction of what the soul knows is right for them, because the soul understands that this is just data it's collecting in order to create the world that the soul wants to create. So you can be grateful for that, right? And the soul is grateful for every experience, so to say, because it is data that points you in the direction of which you want to go. And the more we understand that, the easier it becomes to create, to let go, to release, and feel empowered, because that is what empowerment is. That is what true empowerment is. And freedom. And you will feel it, because on the other side of that emotion that feels so disturbing is only ever freedom if you truly release it appropriately. If you truly release it and let go of it. Which is what forgiveness is. Taking your attention off something and placing it where you want to go. Where you do want to be. Because everything that you experience is only there to show you, is that something that I prefer? If not, well, I go into the different direction. I don't need to look back and point fingers and hate anybody else for not being the way I think life should be, all right? Even if it's heavy stuff. That is really painful to the human, right? And that's where the boldness comes in. That's where the boldness and the courage comes in. And I get that because I experience it every day, so to say. Having to be bold enough to rise above that and to just choose what it is that I want to live over and over and over again until it reflects back in my life. And I never stop then. I only keep creating, right? So I said I want to touch briefly, and there's so much more to say. But I'm going to leave it at there. And I brought my poem, Conscious Awareness, that is connected to the painting Conscious Awareness. And I have it right here. And I think this just fits so much because, conscious awareness, right? Being conscious aware of who we truly are, isn't it? So let's take a deep breath in together. Close your eyes. And out. Let us let it all go now. In through the nose and through the heart. And out through the heart. One more deep breath in. And out. Keep your eyes closed. And allow those words to move through your body, through your whole being, and feel your truth in it. Conscious awareness. I choose conscious awareness of who I truly am. I do not have to know it all. I only have to be willing, and I will experience. I know it all. All that is relevant to me will always be available to me. I choose conscious awareness, and as I seem to move closer and closer to who I really am, my body feels electric. I feel myself vibrating. I feel myself changing. And I always remember I choose conscious awareness of who I truly am. I choose to remember. Take a deep breath in. And out. And if you feel ready, open your eyes. I would love to know what you think about that. Share with me in the comments. I'm really curious. And conscious awareness, right? And sometimes it can feel so confusing, making that shift. The way we lived as just humans, thinking we're out of the body in some shape or form, and we're limited, to making that shift. Again and again, remember, execute. Remember, execute again and again and again until it just becomes our normal state of being, right? And it's okay if we kind of slip, is how I like to call it. If we just slip, it's okay. But we come back. And we keep going. We keep doing it. That's how the planet awakens. That's how we make the beauty happen that we want to see in the world. The peace, the love. It is possible. It's only a lie from that old ego structure telling you it could never be possible, that war never is, that war isn't, or something like that, because there has to be this, or that's not true. It is possible. But we have to create it from within. It's the only way. If this resonated with you, and if you feel that, if you feel me, my energy, and what I am talking about, if you feel my heart, then make sure to follow my social media. I link everything in the description box down below. And if you feel called to, and if it really resonates with you, you also have the opportunity to support my journey. And for that, you also find the link in the description box down below. Let's start with ourselves, right? Let's create peace by first remembering who we are and remembering our own worthiness. Because you are worthy, and I will repeat it as often as I can. You are worthy of your own sound. You are worthy of your own voice. You are worthy of your own truth. You are worthy now. You are the only one that needs to realize that. You are worthy now. We all are. We all are. Have a beautiful time, gorgeous soul. And with that, I see you for day 18. Already 18 tomorrow, linearly speaking. Let us all remember that this is just an illusion, this continuity, right? Let's make it just a habit to remember that, so it kind of becomes our natural, part of our natural state of being, because it is, right? So, see you for day 18. Wish you all the best.